Right, Nigel Farage yesterday set out Reform UK's manifesto. He's not calling it that, it's contract, including eye-catching proposals such as raising the income tax threshold to £20,000 a year.
But experts have warned the sums don't add up, and Nigel Farage joins us now. Mr. Farage, your contract yesterday, tax cuts, big spending cuts, action on immigration. I mean, it's unusual to see such a universal view from the Institute for Fiscal Studies, from left commentators like Dan Needle, from Andrew Neil in the Mail today, all saying the sums don't add up, it's full of holes, it can't be implemented, would lead to bigger interest rates than happened with Liz Truss. I get the feeling that you don't really care about that at all. I mean, that you're not bothered. Is that right?
Well, funny enough, I mean, Dan Needle, who you just mentioned, said that our black hole was smaller than the Labour Party's black hole. Look, commentators will always tear manifestos to pieces, or in our case, our contract with the people. But I tell you what, Ed, I'd have thought you, as a former Labour man, would thoroughly approve of what we're trying to do. We're trying to get people who are trapped on benefits. They're on benefit, but if they work for more than 16 hours a week, they finish up being worse off. By raising that tax threshold to £20,000, we make work pay, we get people off benefits, we help the lower paid keep more money in their pockets, and we reduce the need for unskilled migration. So look, it's ambitious, yes, but I believe it's absolutely the right thing to fight for. And we can make very big savings. I mean, the government's net zero programme is the most expensive thing this country has ever embarked on, certainly in peacetime. There are many other ways that we propose saving money, but this idea that we help those at the bottom, I think it's vital.
A quick factual question. Who would gain most from your personal tax proposal? Somebody on the minimum wage, somebody on average earnings, or somebody on £95,000 a year?
People on benefits would gain the most, because actually their whole lives would be transformed by making work.
Mr. Farage, people on benefits wouldn't benefit at all from the personal tax allowance because they wouldn't be paying any tax. Who would benefit most? Somebody on the minimum wage, somebody on average earnings, or somebody on £95,000?
The poorest in society would benefit the most. And when it comes to raising the tax bands,
we think it's monstrous. Facts are important here. The person who would benefit most from your personal tax proposal is somebody on £95,000 who would gain far more than somebody on average earnings, who would gain much more than somebody on the minimum wage. Did you not know that?
Not in percentage terms, no, that's not true. In actual terms, yes, the more you earn, even if you do pay tax. But in percentage terms, those at the bottom would do best. And when you talk about the tax band,
that's not right.
A staff nurse now pays 40p tax. Why should a staff nurse pay what for decades was top-rate tax?
Somebody on the minimum wage would gain less absolutely and proportionally than somebody on average earnings on £95,000. No. Your tax proposals help people who are richer rather than poorer.
Not in percentage terms.
It's true.
Not in percentage terms. Plus
but you admit that absolutely somebody on £95,000 would gain the most. You admit that? Somebody on £95,000 in cash terms would benefit the most.
Right, OK. In percentage terms, no.
That's not the question.
In cash terms, somebody on £95,000 would gain more than somebody on average earnings or the minimum wage from your proposal. In cash
percentage terms, no.
I know, but I'm asking you a straight question. See, the thing about you, Mr. Farage, is you're a straight talker. You don't play all these political games like Labour and the Conservatives. Straight question. Straight question. Does somebody in cash terms gain more on £95,000? Well, just answer the question, yes or no.
The more you earn, the more you take home. Yes.
What do you mean this is so typical? Being asked questions and asked to answer them?
Well, what's happening here? What's happening here is we're coming along as the third biggest party, maybe even the second biggest party by the weekend in terms of the total number of people that want to vote for us. And we want to have an open debate about the things we stand for. Sure. And we're getting stuck here on one very narrow point where I argue in percentages, you argue in actual terms. Why don't we talk about our energy policy?
Why don't we talk about your inheritance tax
we're the only party proposing to freeze immigration?
I'll ask about inheritance tax. At the moment, a couple with a house worth less than £1 million will pay no inheritance tax. So your proposal to raise the threshold from £1 million to £2 million is a big tax giveaway only if your house is worth over £1 million. Is that really your first priority?
If you've earned money and paid tax on it and bought a house, you shouldn't be taxed again. Your children, successors, shouldn't be taxed again after you die.
But that's true for everybody, unless your house is worth over £1 million. Why are you prioritising people whose houses are worth over £1 million? You could spend the money on low-income people, medium-income people. Instead, you've got a massive tax cut only if your house is worth over £1 million. What's fair about that?
I don't believe in double taxation. People have paid that tax during their working life. Their kids should not have to pay tax again. And you know something? We've got one of the most complicated tax systems in the whole world. The tax code is 21,000 pages long. We're looking for mass simplification.
Can I ask about your candidates, Nigel Farage? You've defended 41 found to be social media friends of a fascist leader, a former organiser for the British National Party who founded the new British Union in the image of Oswald Mosley's British Union of Fascists. How can you defend 41 candidates for your party found to be social media friends?
I'm surprised. Yeah. Do you know what? This bloke's name, I didn't even know what the bloke's name was until last Thursday. And people put stuff on Facebook and they like a comment and they've no idea who it's come from.
No, they hadn't liked a comment. They're actual social media friends on Facebook. That is saying that you want to be connected to someone.
Look, most of our candidates are not political sophisticates, all right? Now, having said that, like the Green Party, like other parties, we've had one or two slip through the net that shouldn't have done. There'll be a story coming out at lunchtime today where you'll hear that we paid a very large sum of money to a reputable vetting company who didn't do the work. So, yes, we've got one or two problems.
OK,
but people liking each other on
take a
Facebook, I'm
vetting
sorry,
company.
I just don't take that seriously.
It doesn't take a vetting company to check who's whose friend on Facebook.
Yes,
so
it
what
does.
are you going to do?
Yes, it
What are you
does.
going to do with the
Yes, it
41
does.
candidates? Are you happy with them standing and representing Reform UK?
As I say, people like each other on Facebook without knowing who they're liking.
Well, I think knowing who your friends are is quite an important test of your character. I'm not friends with any fascist leaders on Facebook. I can absolutely assure you of that.
No, and you're a highly paid London political sophisticate. A lot of our people aren't. They see a comment on Facebook, they like it. They've no idea where it comes from.
It's not a comment, Nigel Farage. It's making a connection with someone who is a fascist leader. OK, so you're not going to do anything about those 41 candidates. What about the...
pressing a button.
What?
No.
It's what? It's pressing a button, OK. A Reform UK candidate has apologised for claiming the country would be far better if it had taken Hitler up on his offer of neutrality instead of fighting the Nazis in World War II. He said, in Britain, we need to exorcise the cult of Churchill and recognise in both policy and military strategy he was abysmal. You want to teach a patriotic curriculum in secondary and primary schools. Is he the person you'd want to teach that?
Interestingly, Winston Churchill's great-nephew, the current Duke of Marlborough, has endorsed reform overnight. So we've got support from the Churchill family. There are some very eccentric people who think we shouldn't have fought either World War I or World War II because of the cost in human terms and financial terms. I think they're plain wrong. OK,
but this chap is going to carry on standing as a candidate for you, is he, as well as the other 41 who've linked with this fascist leader? Are you proud about all of your candidates, Nigel Farage?
By the way, people are allowed, in a free society, people are allowed to have different opinions. I disagree vehemently that we should not have participated in World War II. But once your name's on the ballot paper, it can't be removed.
Are you proud that someone like that is representing your party?
I've just told you twice I disagree vehemently.
Yeah, but I'm asking you, are you proud of your candidates?
For the third time of asking, I disagree vehemently with his comments.
OK. All right, Nigel Farage, thank you for joining us this morning. And...